والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. طيب, page 142 from the Zaad Al-Mustaqni. طيب. We'll try to go through the sharh of page 143 inshallah, and maybe part of 144. طيب. So, your assignment, inshallah ta'ala, is to do, bi'idhnillah, from where we stopped today. As we said, we try to finish 143 and start 144, which is the matan, this one without the sharh. And if you can finish 144, 145, yes. Yeah, 145. So 145, you stop at 8A3, making up missed fast days. And then please study them, study the difference of opinion of the scholar so we can discuss them in very brief. And then we'll start Babu At-Tatawwa. Babu At-Tatawwa. It has some, inshallah, one second. Yeah. You just stop at Babul I'tikaf. We'll do inshallah together Babul I'tikaf. Babul I'tikaf is page 147, starting spiritual retreat. 86, 140. So you stop there. So please, during these 2 weeks, study 144, 145, 146, and inshallah, up to 146, the whole 146. Then we'll start together, inshallah, 147, which is mean we're going to review it together, and then if you any questions, some of the main difference of opinion, and then we can continue fast to go through Babul I'tikaf. And after that, we're going to start the book of Hajj, which is not here. So, no, it's the book Hajj is lesson 40. Marriage is not in the matan, no? The matan, the Arabic matan, does not have marriage. The marriage comes after. Yeah, we have to finish the ibadat first. Huh? I mean, maybe the one who did the translation, he need to advance this chapter of marriage for certain circumstances, maybe, of the student. طيب خير إن شاء الله. طيب, that's واضح إن شاء الله. Did you take note of what you're going to study? طيب. So up to, we said, 147. Yes, so we'll start from 147. And then we'll remind you for those who are going to come later. For the Al-Itqan fi Ulum al-Quran, when we start the Ulum al-Quran, I will let you know, okay? Let's see what chapter should we study. So, which means that please, during the time when you come here, just if you devote 2 good hours to study this. 1 hour and a half maybe for the fiqh, and an hour for the for the Quran. So I say today I have study, and you focus on them, inshallah. That will be easy. طيب. We stopped last time. I think we're starting the kitab or the chapter of the intercourse during Ramadan. صح? That's where we stopped. باب ما يفسد الصوم ويوجب الكفارة. باب ما يفسد الصوم ويوجب الكفارة. You have it like this, right? In the same title. طيب طيب we didn't finish ومن أكل شاكا في طلوع الفجر. Yeah? طيب. We'll start from that. I think I have it. We finish it now, sister? Okay, ومن أكل شاكا. طيب. طيب. قوله بعد بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. قال قوله ومن أكل شاكا في طلوع الفجر صح صومه. ومن أكل شاكا في طلوع الفجر صح صومه. Someone who eats doubting that the Fajr is up, doubting that the dawn is already entered, the time of the dawn. قال أي من أتى مفطرا وهو شاك في طلوع الفجر فصومه صحيح. سبحان الله. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في سورة البقرة قال فالآن باشروهن وابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر. So we have the permission, and Allah command, to keep eat and drink till the coming up of the dawn. Now here in the ayah he said قال حتى يتبين لكم, till it becomes clear for you the difference between the white thread from the black thread. Now we have the understanding, because when this ayah was revealed, some of the companions, they make their own ijtihad, and the Prophet ﷺ said that was not that. قال وضد التبين الشك والظن. So التبين is to be sure that is up, that the dawn, started. Now the opposite, الشك, is like you're not sure. فقال فما دمنا لم يتبين الفجر لنا فلنا أن نأكل ونشرب. As long as we're not sure that it's Fajr, so الأصل الأكل والشرب, right? For example, someone, he's eating, tell them stop, you should not eat. Tell them why. He said it's almost Fajr. He said it's Fajr or almost Fajr. He said almost. I said so it's almost. Why are you stopping me? Now then the adhan is called. That is the sign. That's the Fajr is up. But if there's someone not listening to adhan and he's not around the masjid, or like he's at his house or things, he need to be sure that the time of the Fajr is up. Of course, now we have the calendar and we have the time tables, etc. But we're talking about how can we define that? How can we define that with your own fiqh, with your own understanding, without the tools and the devices that we have? Because subhanallah, this sharia is made for all time, and it will come a time that all this technology does not exist. Wallah. This is, or sometimes in someone traveling and things, there's a lot of circumstances that you need the essence of the fiqh, instead of relying on things like the same. If you think of Ramadan, people, they want to issue ahkam based on the technology, when the Sharia didn't ask you or didn't burden the Ummah to use the technology. If it is there, so use it in the way of it serve the Sharia. Don't change the Sharia because of the technology, unless there's an intent or there's a way that is allowed by the Sunnah or by the scholars as a consensus or a strong opinion. Now, look at the Hilal, is with the eye. So the Prophet ﷺ, he based the hukum on the most basic thing that is with you all the time. Someone, he's traveling and he knows, today we've been in Sha'ban, we don't know this is when is gonna Ramadan. So it's qala, Nabi sallallahu. He said, I cannot do it because I don't have telescope, I don't have this. He said, no, ru'yati, with your eye. And then the hukum will be based on the thing that you have. واضح. So that's the ahkam of the Sharia, based on the most simple thing, that Allah make it easy for us. Even you'll be able, for you to have your own judgment, because this is, Allah will call you accountable for your own ibadah. طيب. قال Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا وأخطأنا. And ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملت على الذين من قبلنا. So all this ayat is like, you make your own ijtihad, and if you happen that you ate and you still doubting, then your sawm is sahih, as we're going to mention. قال, this mas'ala has different scenarios. قال أن يتنقن أن الفجر لم يطلع. The first thing, he's sure that the Fajr didn't come up. مثلا أن يكون طلوع الفجر, for example, the Fajr comes up at 5. ويكون أكله وشربه في الساعة 4:15 فصومه صحيح. He will sure that he know that the Fajr is 5 and he was eating at 4:30. So this is صوم صحيح. The second scenario, someone, he knows that the Fajr is up, but he still want to give to himself a fatwa that maybe not, and he eats. That's his Fajr, his Siyam is wrong. Because for example, the Fajr at 5. And someone, he's at 5:15, he didn't eat, he want to eat, and he look out of the window, it's still dark. But he's sure inside himself, he know that the Fajr is at 5. So that yaqeen that he already know, and he want to find kind of give an interpretation to his situation, that the situation, the Siyam is fasid. The Siyam is fasid. Is void and not accepted. And we say not accepted, not in reward, not accepted as an ada, as an action. طيب. The fourth scenario, أن يأكل ويشرب ويغلب على ظنه أن الفجر طالع فصومه صحيح أيضا. To eat and drink, and he think most likely the Fajr is already up. In this case, also according to the scholar, that his Siyam is sahih, his fasting is sahih. The fifth scenario, that he eats and he's not sure that the Fajr is up or not. He's really not sure. Also, his fasting is sahih. All these scenarios are included in the ayah of the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah, قال حتى يتبين لكم, till it is clear to you, clear to you. Okay, so here, subhanallah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, is addressing to the jama'ah. So if the jama'ah together and they make a mu'adhin to notify them, so that's the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he turned them to Bilal. قال كلوا واشربوا when you hear Bilal, وأمسكوا when you hear Abdullah ibn Maktoum, who was to make the adhan, the second adhan for the al-imsak. But this is what comes to the opinion, to explain the opinion of the author here. قال ومن أكل شاكا في طلوع الفجر صح صوم. Whoever who eats doubting that the Fajr is up and not sure, and he ate, so his fasting is sahih. His fasting is, he continued fast and his fast is sahih. Now, if, there's another opinion of the scholar, if someone ate and thinking that the Fajr didn't come up, what happened to his siyam? According to this opinion, his siyam is still sound. Why? Because when he done it with jahl, not with intention. He was truly thinking that the Fajr is not up yet. Then he realized after eating that the Fajr was like 15 minutes ago. His siyam is sahih. But according to the madhab of the author, such situation, the siyam is not sahih. If someone eats after 15 minutes of Fajr, thinking that it was Fajr, and then he realized that he was eating after Fajr, he has to make up for that day. This is according to the Hanbali madhab. Because they don't see the ignorance here, not knowing, is an excuse. But in reality, it is as in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. The nisyan and not knowing, like the analogy of that, the qiyas, is the one who eats Ramadan, eats in the day of Ramadan, forgetting. So he does not have qadha. طيب. قوله لا إن أكل شاكا في غروب الشمس. His siyam is not sahih if he eats doubting the sunset, doubting the coming up of Fajr, because he's already eating and drinking. To stop eating and drinking, you need bayyinah. You need to be sure of the coming up of the Fajr. As Allah قال حتى يتبين. The same thing, you cannot eat till you'll be sure that the sun is set. So, having doubt in the setting of the sun and eating, that will void the siyam. You see, so here in the sentence, what he put together to be the vehicle of the meaning of the sentence is the doubt, is the shak. واضح, is the shak. The shak, which is the doubt, will allow for the siyam to be accepted if this shak happen at the coming up of the Fajr. The same shak, when it applies to the sunset, the siyam is not accepted. Voila. So he put the mas'ala around the shak. And how to explain that? As we said, because at the suhoor time, someone is still eating and drinking. He's still in the night. So the shak for to come up the Fajr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He told us to have bayina, to have tabayyun. So the shak keep the fasting sound, because here I have to have bayina to start the fasting. Now I'm fasting, I need to have bayina to eat. So if I eat based on shak, the fasting is nullified. And if I didn't yet made an imsak based on shak, the sawm is sahih. طيب. Do you have any question concerning this mas'ala? No.
Sometimes the problem when you have two different apps that give two different types of numbers. One's earlier than the other. If you go with the one that's just in case, you go with the one that's later than the one that's earlier.
Go with the timing that used by the whole community around you. Why? Because the time is calculated based on angles. So the best, angle to see is those who calculated from here. From which is there's a calculation done in the US. So that's the calculation based on the angles of the position of the of the angles that we are in to the sun and the sunset. So that's the most likely to follow. But if someone he does not have the tarjih, first he rely on his eye, because sometimes people, they rely on time, and sometimes more than relying on what they own eyes. I mean, if the sun is still up and is still in the isfirar, and they say it's set, but you see in it, so you still keep fasting. Right? So this time was really, you see the sun, when part of it is setting, is behind the was setting, that's the sunset. But if it's still up in the far horizon and the time say is set, then you have to wait for the sun, not to look at the time. Well, if it's not clear and you don't know, then take your ihtiyat precaution and get the one that is farther in time. They waited the whole day so maybe those 2 minutes are more valuable than the rest of the day, because teach them sabr, which it might conflict with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ to hasten to do the iftar. But if these 2 minutes, because we have difference in the sunset, so be sure that you break in your fast in the sunset. And this comes here to the doubt. So if we apply the opinion of the author here, so he ruined his siyam. The beginning, because the beginning of the adhan is the sunset. So the mu'adhan will not coincide the end of the adhan with the sunset. He has to start with the ghurub al-shams. That's why the mu'adhan, to apply the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, he break his fast before the adhan, because he has mastering the time. So he know the time, so he break his fast and he make the adhan. And funny, some people, they say, oh, you break your fast before the adhan. He said, I'm the mu'adhan. طيب. قال لا إن أكل شاكا في غروب الشمس أو معتقدا أنه ليل فبان نهارا. The one also, the other case where someone his fasting is not accepted, which is like he nullified or void his fasting by this action. What the meaning of it? قال أي لو أكل يعتقد أنه في ليل فبان نهارا لم يصح صوم. Someone he took a nap. He woke up after Asr. He looked, everything is dark outside. He thinks that it is already night. He go eat. Then it realized that it was like a dark cloud, and and he opened well his eyes and goes to part of the house when he see like it is day. So bana lahu nahara. Then he realized that it is still day. That one he has to redo his fasting. قال لم يصح صوم. واضح. No, this is according to the madhab, because the i'tiqad is a belief of something that does not exist, because it's not the person who forget. That's his absent mind. So when he wake up and he think it's night, for example, he has to make the tahari, because something external that he need to request information. So he relied on his senses, on his what he can see. Then he realizes a day, still day, which is very awkward in the mas'ala here. If someone wake up after Fajr and he think it's still night, and he will eat, then he realized that he ate after Fajr. We said in the beginning, if he eats doubting, that's eats doubting, like he's ready, and he said, kind of analyzing the situation. He said, I don't think it's Fajr yet. Analyzing the situation, and he eats, and then he realized that he's already Fajr. According to the author, لم يتبين له. Thus enter into the action. Look, يتبين kind it has فعل مضارع, and the مضارع is like he's acting or like reflecting on the time. يتبين. That's why some of the companion, we have the hadith. I think I saw the hadith somewhere here. The hadith of the companion radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that when he heard the ayah, he took one thread white and one thread black, and then he kept sleeping and coming, waking up and looking at these threads. So till when he can make the difference between them, that's when he stopped. That's what. And when the Prophet ﷺ, he said to the Prophet ﷺ, so kind of the Prophet reproached him. That's not what the point. This is in the far horizon of the coming up of the dawn, not to take literally two thread, one black and one white, But the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't tell him to redo your siyam. Well, so here there's that action of tabayyun, and you're not sure, and someone ate, so he said your siyam is sahih. So that's one mas'ala. The second mas'ala, Someone wake up, he rushes to the kitchen, he eats, and then he realized that the Fajr was up 15 minutes before even he eats. This one he has to redo his day. Why? Because he didn't have the time to reflect, to see, it's time of Fajr or not? No, I'm sure it's not. Maybe yes. And that he is not sure of the coming up and reflecting on that, and he eats. His siyam is sahih. Why? Because he did the action of tabayyin and he was still in shak, in doubt, and he ate on that state. That's where he entered into the hukum that extracted from the ayah. But someone wake up after Fajr and he eats, and then he will reflect. He said, I think, he said, I think I was eating after Fajr. Okay, so he come to the conclusion that he did it in the wrong time. That's here the author saying, أو معتقدا أنه ليل فبان نهار. This is the right example. So he's believing that it's night, but in reality it was already after dawn. So he has either someone in the day and there's a dark cloud, he thinks that it's already night, and he eats, and then that dark cloud, for example, passes, and then the sky is clear. Those people, they have to redo their day. Because why? Is i'tiqad. I'tiqad. Al-i'tiqad is to believe something that is not true. Al-i'tiqad bi-shay. Al-i'tiqad fi shay. Because we don't say أعتقد أن الله موجود. We say أؤمن أن الله موجود. أعتقد is like I believe, kind of, أعتقد is something, I believe in it, and actually it does not exist. That's how we use the i'tiqad. So I believe it's night, but in reality it was day. So my belief was based on something that is not real. That's the i'tiqad. Huh? So this is the mas'ala. So the iftar, or using one of the muftirat, was based on i'tiqad, on a belief that was not based on evidence. Belief based on someone's thoughts. The other mas'ala, he was in action of tabayyun and he didn't get to the tabayyun. He was reflecting to be sure, but he was doubting. He didn't have come to the result that is sure. You see the difference between them? That's the قال ومن أكل شاكا في طلوع الفجر صح صومه. So whoever who eats reflecting on the coming up of the Fajr, it is yet up or not, and he eats, then his siyam is right, even though the Fajr was already passed, because لم يتبين. The same shak will not apply at the sunset, because he has to have tabayyun to be sure that the sun had set to eat, to break his fast. Now, al-i'tiqadu, to believe something that is not real, it voids the fasting. To believe that is night when it's not, that's required for someone to make up his day. Well, we move to the next fasl. قال ومن جامع في نهار رمضان في قبل أو دبر فعليه القضاء والكفارة. Now here, as you're seeing, there is مفترات تفسد الصوم ولا توجب الكفارة. There's a way to use مفترات. المفترات are the thing that when are done, they void and they break the fasting. Okay, they void the worship of fasting. We said al-muftiratu al-aklu wa-shurbu and al-jima', the part of the jima'. So the intercourse is muftir. The drinking is muftir and the eating is muftir. The akl and shurb and man ista'atta wahtaqana waktahala, all of that, what he mentioned that is related to the akl wa shurb, annul or break the fast, but does not require kafara. Now, what is the action that break the fast, but yet also require a kafara? Kafara is to have an expiation, to pay, to do the action, observe, or to fulfill this duty of kafara. And we're going to see the kafara. The kafara as the kafara of dhihar that Allah mentioned in the beginning of Surah Al-Mujadala is to fast 2 months or to feed 60 miskin. And the first one is to free, is, in the time of the generation or the society, they have servitude, is to free a neck. And that's why was one of the ways that Islam used it to dry out the servitude and slavery into the society. So to feed to fast 60 days, or actually 2 months, because if you count the month with the ahilla, with the hilal, can be like less than 60 days. 29 and 29, this is, less. Or to feed 60 miskin. So these are the kafara that he's gonna mention later. So the action that break the fast and also obligate the kafara is the intimate intercourse. قال ومن جامع في نهار رمضان ومن جامع في نهار رمضان. من جامع في نهار، من صيغ العموم، أي whoever from those who are entitled by the Sharia to fast and he make this action of jima' in the day of Ramadan, فعليه القضاء والكفارة. It's obligatory on him to make up that day and to pay the kafara. So we said whoever who is entitled to fast, that's one condition. The second condition, he's entitled to fast. It means like he's a Muslim, wa'aqil, and able, and he does not encounter anything that will prevent him from not fasting. So someone, for example, he's traveling, and they had the jima', so that will not require kafara because he's already gonna make up that day because he's traveling. So while he's traveling, he's not fasting, and then making the jima' in the day of Ramadan while traveling, that will not require kafara, only require the qada. So that's why he said the second, he entitled to fast, being able or like required by the Sharia, having all the shurut of the mukallaf fulfilled. And the second, that there is no any element or aspect to prevent him or prevent her from fasting. Something that dropped the fasting or the obligation of fasting on this person. قال مسقط للصوم. Example, as if he, for example, he's someone he's sick, someone he's traveling, as we said. There's one mas'ala that I forget to mention in the other paragraph. Just I'll go back to it, which is important for us. Someone, this is different topic. I'm gonna come back to what I started already. Someone, he's traveling. He's gonna take the plane. He's gonna have a flight at around the sunset. Before he get to board, and before the plane had its departure, he break his fast. And then when the plane left, in the horizon he started to see the sun, because he's traveling in the other sense, so he's traveling toward where the sun is still up. What is the answer here? Because then he finds himself, after sometimes flying, is still day. Well, if someone coming from overseas back here, I mean, you pray Fajr, for example, in the Middle East, and you travel back 13 hours or 14 hours, and you still coming before Dhuhr here, when already have over there they prayed Isha. So you go on in the other sense, subhanAllah, you go to the way where there's more days. So if you're traveling that way, and you already break your fast, what will be the answer here? The answer, subhanAllah, that you already break your fast, you're done with that day. واضح. قال لا يلزم أن يمسك لأن النهار في حقه انتهى. He does not have to hold on eating. Why? Because for him that day is already gone. He finished that day. Now, the other issue, what if he, when the plane left, he didn't break his fast? For example, the Maghrib is at 6, for example, and the plane left at 5, and he's still fasting. At home at 6, they break his fast, and him at 6, he have the sun is up. 7, the sun is still up. According to the madhab, what he has to do? He only break his fast when the sun sets. Because قال وكلوا واشربوا، قال الله سبحانه وتعالى حتى يتبين لكم، قال ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل. As long as you have day, you cannot break your fast. So some opinion, they say, no, you break your fast based on from where you start your fasting. I said, yes, that's an opinion. But you still have day, according to the Quran, you have to keep fasting. So what is the way out? If you're going to be traveling 13 hours and it's still day, and when you get to the place, you still have another half day. What is the way out? Huh? Yes, to take the rukhsa, to break your fast as a musafir. And that's, you see, the rahmah, subhanallah. So sometimes some of people, they make it very difficult. And they enter into details and difference of opinion. Say, Yahi, can you please break your fast? Because you already have the permission from Allah. وَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ مَرِيضًا أَوْ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرَ. You are in safar. And that's the way out, inshallah. But this is a mas'ala, because many in our time we encounter this situation. Yeah. In that case, you don't want to break your fasting because you've been fasting earlier. Yeah. If you only 30 minutes, the 30 minutes is going to be the same time zone. 30 minutes is going to be the same, it's going to be a difference of maybe 10 to 20 minutes maximum. Then someone will break his fast in the plane. But we're talking about situation, for example, the plane leaves at 10 a.m. and someone is fasting. At 10 a.m. is not going to be sunset, it's going to be at 6. It's going to be totally different time. Because from 10 to 6, you have like very, maybe, this is 8 hours of flight. So 8 hours is a big distance. So at that time, you say, at 10, someone will take his breakfast in the plane and he will be like taking his rukhsa. And then when he get later days, he will make up his day. But for half an hour, he will, inshallah, the time, it will be very close. So the difference is not going to be big, inshallah. So better to, in this condition, to continue the fasting. Yeah. Going is as soon as you get to the plane, you start to eat. Yeah. تفضل brother. That's what we started. That's how we started. That's what the first thing we have said. If he break his fast, he's still on the land, and he fly it, and he will see the day. That's it. He finished with his day. That day is done for him. Well, so he will not make it up. He already finished his day. For example, today is mashallah Sunday. Is already Monday, right? In Middle East, it's already Monday, almost 9 hours. Yeah, it's already Monday. Brother Abdul Ghani, check the technology. 2:30. It's already Monday. It's Monday. So, if the case, someone he fasts Sunday, and he's traveling, he finished Sunday. So when he's coming here, still we have Sunday, for them is Monday. So he finished his Sunday fasting. Even if he will see the sun, for him Sunday is done. Okay? But the question mark, it was, if he started Sunday and then he traveled, then the Sunday is going to be the longest Sunday for him. Why? Because he's going traveling in the opposite direction of the sun. If he finishes Sunday in where he was, then when he travel and he get back here, big part of Sunday, which will be in the way, and he's seeing the sun, that does not concern him because he finished that day. That's the masala that we are trying. Come back to the paragraph that we have, to the fasl or the chapter. قلنا من, whoever who does the action of the jima' in the day of Ramadan, he has two things. He has to make it up and to do the kafara. Now, there is something in what ولا حياء في الدين, of course. قال في قبل أو دبر. في قبل أو دبر. This should not be taken that what the scholar are saying is allowed, because the intimate intercourse halal in the Sharia is between spouses and from the qubul, from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make halal. To do it from, to observe that from the dubur, it's haram. But here the scholars, they get you beyond the halal of the haram to tell you, what is the hukum after doing any action. واضح. For example, someone he announced, or like he declared the talaq, the word of the talaq, in front of his spouse in a state of being drunk. The fuqaha, that will not stop. They say he was drunk, he was doing something haram. That's not the issue. This is a law, this is a regulation. So being intoxicated in that moment, that's his own issue. We have another mas'ala to treat. The mas'ala is the talaq occurred or not. We're not going to say, why did you drink? That was haram. That's another issue. You see how accurate and precise the fuqaha. So I said, whoever make a jima', whatever jima' made, halal, haram, and everything, and he want to repent, and he come to ask you for the fatwa. When you ask you the fatwa, you're not going to say, what type of jima' have you done? And how you dare do such a thing? That's not the question. Because the man who came to the Prophet ﷺ, قال هلكت يا رسول الله. I hurt, I'm ruined, He told him, what have you done? He said, I did jima' with my wife. The Prophet ﷺ said, then do this. He didn't tell him, explain, why have you done it in this? No, he gave you the solution of a problem that you are presenting. And this is, subhanallah, it is from the etiquette and of the Prophet ﷺ that the scholars, they take in consideration. So also the student of knowledge should not look at this and say, oh, look, the fuqaha, they talking about jima' in the dubur. It is, according to them, though, is permitted. I said, no, don't look at it this way. The fuqaha here will given us the regulation concerning an action that was done. We're not holding accountable the action done. That's why there's big difference, and this is a principle, between al-fatwa wal-qada. Difference between fatwa and qada. And this is, many people, they make, confusion in it, because sometimes some of the scholars or students of knowledge, when they ask it, they're being later on blamed on causing fitna. Why people? Because they make confusion between these two fields, totally different field. Al-fatwa is someone to ask you an opinion according to the Sharia concerning a specific matter. واضح. Al-qada is someone to complain and come to the judge to settle into a conflict. I'll give you a very known example. Hind, زوجة Abu Sufyan. She came to the Prophet ﷺ, and this is example that the scholar they give. She said that he's holding his money and I need to provide for the family. Can I take from his money? And I've been taken from his money without his knowing. If that's right, the Prophet ﷺ say, take from his money with the ma'ruf, whatever is going to be needed to you and to your household. This is fatwa. The Prophet ﷺ didn't ask her. I have to ask Abu Sufyan if he's truly not giving you. What reason he's not giving you? Did you ask him? And he said no. All these other questions are qada. You come to the court, you say, I want to have to complain about so-and-so, and they want you to judge between us. Then that request engage in investigation. The fatwa, he asking your opinion. So sometimes when someone will ask the opinion, and the person he will hear the opinion, what he say? He say, look, so-and-so he's making fitna, for example. they should have asked me, for example. Said, why should they ask you when it wasn't a judgment, it wasn't kind of complaint or someone want to settle a conflict, it was a fatwa. And this is the difference, brother. So here, when we're talking about the fatwa, the man came to the Prophet ﷺ, قال هلكت يا رسول الله. He told him, what have you done? He said, I did the intercourse with my wife in the day of Ramadan. So here, the Prophet ﷺ, he's not as a judge, he's acting as a judge, he's asking as mufti. He helped them how to solve this issue that he has. This is how we understand the scholar when they say, for example, talaq al-sakran, the divorce of the one who's drunk. Do the scholar accept or permit the alcohol for people to get drunk and then to make the divorce? No. This is, we treat situation that happen. So that's, I want to emphasize this. We're going to see it further in some masail, but here because he said, قال من قبل أو دبر. So we're talking about jima, intercourse. Whatever type, even it's haram, is not going to take you out of Islam. That's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to repent. But the hukum, how to correct your worship that you violated by this action, this is how to do it. واضح؟ قال فعليه القضاء والكفار. So is upon him قضاء وكفار. طيب. فعليه القضاء لأنه أفسد صومه الواجب فلزمه القضاء كالصلاة. So the qada, because he broke and he violated this worship, so he nullified, he voided by this action, therefore he has to do it again. Al-kaffaratu is the expiation, as we're going to mention that. قال Al-kaffaratu is only restricted to Ramadan. Al-kaffaratu is only restricted to Ramadan. If someone making up his day of Ramadan, for example, in later days, in that day, it happened that he, subhanallah, he had a jima' with his, intercourse, between the spouses. Will he has to make kafara? No, because he's not in Ramadan. So qada'u yawmi Ramadan, to make up for the day of Ramadan in later days, and those later days, they will commit the jima' that will not require kafara. واضح? So the kafara is only when the fast is void or violated by the jima' and in Ramadan. That's in his wording, yeah? The second mas'ala here, now in case that they have وَإِنْ جَامَعَ دُونَ الْفَرْجِ فَأَنْزَلْ, if they have kind of intercourse but it didn't get to al-farj وهو al-ilaj, so they didn't have the full intercourse, and the person anzal, he mean like he had the water out, or in case the woman has ma'dhura, she has an excuse, and we're going to explain that. أو جامع من كان نوى الصوم في صفره أفطر ولا كفارة. Or spouses, they had made the intercourse during a travel in Ramadan while they intended كان نوى الصوم, when he intended to fast while he's traveling. Travel gave him the permission to not fast, but he said, I'm going to fast. And while they're traveling, and the person he's fasting, they made the intercourse during this situation. In these three cases, according to the madhab of the author, they only have qada, no kafar. They only have qada, no kafar. قال وإن, this is the shart. جامع دون الفرج فأنزل أو كانت المرأة معذورة أو جامع من كان نوى الصوم في سفره أفطر ولا كفار. Inshallah we'll explain this مسائل with the دليل إن شاء الله after صلاة المغرب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. قال ومن جامع في نهار رمضان في قبل أو دبر فعليه القضاء والكفارة، وإن جامع دون الفرج فأنزل أو كانت المرأة معذورة أو جامع من كان نوى الصوم في سفره أفطر ولا كفار. This we have three مسائل. The answer to these cases that only require to redo this fasting but not to be entitled to pay the kafar. Pay the kafar. The kafar is very heavy. When you say pay, it's not pay, actually it's to fulfill the kafar, because قال عتق رقبة, which we said depends on the time you live in, but the next one that is universal is fasting of 2 months for one day. 2 months. شهرين متتابعين. طيب. قال إذا جامع دون الفرج فأنزل فقد ذكر المؤلف أن عليه القضاء دون الكفارة. Here we have difference of opinion. Someone, he intentionally having kind of relation, kind of let's say someone he's like how can I put it in words, he's satisfying his desire, واضح, but not intending to do an intercourse, but he's really close to it, and then without person in that situation, قال أنزل, it means like he had the water out. According to the author, this is he void his fasting, but he's not entitled to the kafar. Now, قال here the other opinion, they said anything entitled to require full ghusl done by intentionally, then it required the kafar. واضح. قال لأن الإنزال موجب للغسل فكان موجبا للكفارة. This is according to some opinion. واضح. So they're saying he had the intention, and then when he had al-inzal, then it need to be assimilated at the jima', then he has to have the kafara because he intentionally has done it. And some of the scholars really they go for that. And here some of the scholars they're saying the fatwa depends on the case. Because sometimes in a community or society where they do not have respect of Ramadan, and people it becomes like kind of they take things lightly. So what between just to be close to each other in the day of Ramadan, when most likely they're gonna get to the intercourse. What maybe stop them is that the person has the inzal. So here the scholar they say as long as someone he already intended to get there and he had anything the inzal who require the ghusl at the intercourse, then he has to pay the kafar. Wada. That's why subhanAllah depends on the situation. In a situation of a society known by its righteousness, people are like kind of more devoted to the way of the deen. The author opinion, it will be the stronger opinion. Sometimes people, they only have, alhamdulillah, like the situation of we're going to mention of the Sahabi. I mean, there's a situation that someone will not be, he'll be helpless, just he was have a rush of desire, he cannot control it. He cannot stop it. And then when he commit the action, he will be rushing to find the solution. Therefore, let's stop here concerning this opinion, and we're saying that the author opinion is a very strong opinion, but someone might be considering the second opinion depends on some certain circumstances, because there's people who intend to do it in the haram, intend to do it in haram, and then they didn't do the intercourse, but it led them to the inzal. So in this condition, those who saying that it need to be have the kafara, it most likely to be a stronger opinion in this case, to reprimand people for taking lightly such sacred days of worship, which are the days of Ramadan. طيب. قال المرأة المعذورة مرأة معذورة, because the intercourse is going to engage the two people, the two spouses. Does the woman has also to pay the kafara if she was refusing? So that's what he said معذورة. معذورة. المعذورة هنا قال أنه لو كانت مطاوعة فعليها القضاء. If she was like also looking forward to this action, then she has to have the qada too. She has to have the qada and the kafara like the man. Because we have a principle in the Sharia, men and women are equal in the ahkam, except when is specified. So in this case, it's like, he's the person, the man, he's the one who's forcing, and then, any resistance will cause a problem and everything. So in this case, she's not, accepting that. So she will have only the qada for certain scholars, not the kafar. But if she's getting along and getting both along together in the action, then both of them, they have the qada and the kafar. Now, this is all coming from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that I'm going to read. Hadith Abi Hurairah in the Sahihain. أن رجلا أتى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال هلكت قال هلكت. هلكت is halaka is like I ruined myself. This is kind of the meaning of halak. قال ما أهلكك. What the thing that caused you to be ruined, to be like in this situation? قال وقعت على امرأتي في رمضان وأنا صائم. Now look, قال وقعت. وقعت is like I get to like وقع is to fall. And it is kind of a figure of speech to see that the action was initiated by the man. He didn't say we have done. Say قال وقعت. على امرأتي in Ramadan while I'm fasting. The Prophet ﷺ said قال هل تجد رقبة. Look at the etiquette of the Prophet ﷺ. Did he judge him? He already did it. And he came in regret, asking a solution. Are you going to reprimand him? Are you going to make him feel more sorry? Belittle the person? No. The Prophet said, قال, you see, this is the fatwa. This is not qada. This is fatwa. He asked. He said, do you find a raqaba, a neck to free at that time? That's the first action of expiation, is to free a servant. قال هل تجب رقبة؟ فقال لا. No. قال هل تستطيع أن تصوم شهرين متتابعين? Are you able to fast 2 months in a row? قال لا. Look, تستطيع, because the action is under the condition of the istita'a. Are you able? Look, the hadith. And other hadith, in other hadith, he said, قال, اعتق رقبة, قال, I cannot, etc. So, but here in this wording of this hadith, this particular one, this particular riwayah, قال هل تستطيع. قال هل تستطيع أن تطعم 60 مسكينا. He said, okay, are you able to feed 60 needy people? قال لا. No. ثم جلس الرجل. He felt that there is no solution for him. The 3 options to solve, to expiate for his action, he's not able to do it. He said, the Prophet ﷺ left and he came back. فجاء إلى النبي بتمر. So he asked, in a riwayah he went and he get back, and in a riwayah they brought him dates, and in a riwayah he asked for a date. The most important, the Prophet he has dates, a tray, big tray. قال خذ هذا تصدق به. Say, take this, give it to the masakin as expiation of your action. See the rahmah of the Prophet. Now, the Sahabi, he needs to take more advantage of the mercy of the Prophet. قال على أفقر مني يا رسول الله والله ما بين لابتيها أهل بيت أفقر منه. He said, Ya Rasul, I'm going to give it to someone more poor than me. He said, by Allah, if you go from Medina, from sector, from Laba to Laba, the Laba are the border of Medina, Al-Harra was the stony part, and from both sides. He said, you go from border to border of Medina, you will not find a family more poor than me. Now he came asking for a solution, now he arguing for new rights. فضحك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم smiled. He left. ثم قال أطعموا أهلك. Go feed it to your family. He came screaming هلكت. He left with the tray of date from the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم to enjoy it with his family. Every time you think of Islam, think of this hadith. That's the mercy of Islam. طيب, back to our issue here. قال, there in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ gave us the kafar. تحرير رقبة, عتق رقبة, فإن لم يجد فصيام شهرين متتابعين, فإن لم يجد فإطعام 60 مسكين. For the case of today in general, so he said تحرير رقبة, and then fasting 2 months, and if someone cannot able or is not able to do it, then he will feed 60 miskin. Now here in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ didn't mention anything about his wife. Does not mean that she's not entitled to pay the kafara. And the Prophet ﷺ will not have, he didn't ask because the man he came to ask solution for himself. This is the fatwa. The fatwa, you only give more information if you know that benefit the person, not to embarrass the person. More clarification to give better solution, not more clarification to belittle a person. So according to the scholar, as the woman was not mentioned, therefore, here where comes the option. If she was, getting along with him, then she has the kafara. If she wasn't, then she only have to make up the day, only without the kafara. واضح؟ قال من أقوال أهل العلم وبعض العلماء يقول لا كفارة عليها للسكوت عنها في الحديث. Some of the scholars, they said, in the hadith she wasn't mentioned, there's no kafara. Other, they say, إذا أكرهت فكفارتها على الزوج لأنه هو الذي أكرهها. He said, other scholars, they say, if she was forced, she was pushed for that, then the spouse is the one he has to pay for her kafar. But all of this does not have a very strong opinion, except what we had said. If they get along together, both they pay kafara. If she was pushed to do it, he only pay the kafara. Well, he only pay the kafara. But in all cases, they have to make also the day. They have to make up for the day. So here the difference of opinion and the analysis or the different scenario into the kafara, not into making up the days. Now, what if they were the men and the women, they forget that it's Ramadan? Or he was forced. Condition happened. In this case, he's not entitled to the kafara, but he's entitled to the qada, because he fully forget. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not call accountable for someone النسيان. قالوا رفع القلم على أمتي عن نسيان وما استكره عليه. That's in the hadith. So is not someone accountable in a state of being forgetting or not aware of what he's doing, not aware not of the action, of the condition or preventing him to do that action. طيب. The next مسألة قال أو جامع من نوى الصوم في سفره أفطر ولا كفارة. To understand this, as we were talking now, قال look, أو جامع من كان نوى الصوم في سفره أفطر ولا كفارة. Someone, he's traveling and he opted to fast during the travel. But then, while they're traveling, they had the action of the jima. This person will come to you, say, we made, the jima, what is the hukm? The answer, as the author say, as long as you were traveling, the action of intercourse only break the fast. Therefore, you have to make up for the fast and you're not entitled for the kafara to do. Wow. Now, to analyze the scenario, two people, they are like traveling, okay? They want to travel. They say, we are traveling, we're not gonna fast. This is a permission. While they're traveling, during the day of Ramadan, they had the action of the jima. What is the consequence? Is they were not fasting. Therefore, the action of the jima is permitted as the muftirat. They're drinking, they're eating, then the jima is part of the muftirat, is allowed because they were traveling. So here, the mas'ala will not even be, as a mas'ala. There's no question here to answer because they already know they are not fasting, which they're going to make up the day anyway. Now, the mas'ala that the author is explaining or putting here, he said, what if someone decide to fast during the travel? He said, it's a short trip, we're going to be in the car, I better fast and, to not to do it another day. Well, now, while they're traveling, and he intended, قال نوى الصوم, he's fasting, and then they had the action of the jima. This action of the jima is only break the fast, but will not obligate them the kafara. So they had done a muftar. It's like someone changed his mind to not fast during the travel. He already had the permission. واضح. That's what he said here. So if we read it back, قال أو جامع, made the action of the jima. Who? The one who chose to fast during travel. Then the jima caused the iftar, but will not obligate on them the kafara. واضح? Because they already have the permission to not fast. So even if he intended, so the fasting that he had will break it, but will not obligate on them the kafara. Because, as I said already, they could, both of them chose to not fast, and they will have access to all the muftirat. Any question concerning this issue? Inshallah. Yes, brother. The men. Well, we don't have slaves today. No, the second one. Well, it depends on the society and the time we live in. So the fasting of 2 months, that's the one is required. If someone cannot, then he has to feed 60 people. No, 60 people is one miskin, 1 meal per day. I mean, for every miskin, 1 meal. No, you can feed them. You can invite 60 person and feed them in a big feast. Eat as much as you can. That will be the kafara. Or we explained before. Or to have 60 meals to give to a family. So it's like إطعام 60 مسكينة, is to إطعام مسكين, so you have a meal. The same person, if you give him for 60 days, then he going to have fulfilled the kafar. Or you give in one day for 60 person. All of it works. Yes, 60 person. Or you give to a family, member of 5, you give them 60 meals, the value of 60 meals, and you're done. And then they're gonna use it because you give 60. So which will be quantified not based on is either on the number of people or on the number of meals. And in the end comes this. So if the number of people less than 60, you have to give them 60 meals. If the number of people is 60, everyone should get one meal. So the most important is to have 60 meals for 60 miskin. So it is either one of them, it will be fine. If you invite 60 miskin and you feed them, the kafara is done. If you give 60 meal to a person, tell him, can you please distribute it? The kafara is done. Then the meal will be based on kind of close to the value of zakat al-fitr, for example, because zakat al-fitr rely on the feeding, kind of that close to that, or the kafara of al-yamin, so that's it'am, which is based on the sa', etc. The easiest way? That's why if someone finds people needy, one family, he can give them the value of 60 meals. For example, you say kind of 2 kilogram or something of rice, depends on the conversion of the sa'. If you give them 60 kilo, or 2-3 families, everyone you give them 20 kilo of rice and some flowers and everything will be done. And according to other scholar, which to convert it into value in money. So for every meal, for example, $10, this is $60. No, 10 times 60, $600. $600. For $600, you can have, kind of food, and you go to a place where people are needy and everything, and you offer them the food. Just, so it's either to be food, so they can use it, store it, or to be cooked food, so they can eat it on site, or to be value, to have it and buy from it the food. I mean, it's recommended, but it is permissible to give to anyone who's needy, because he's miskin, needy. And في كل كبد رطب صدقة. In every living liver, a sadaqah, the Prophet ﷺ said. So it's about, the human being. But it depends on the situation of the community. I mean, if you have the needy people or like a close family, you have to give to the close family first. And then the people around you from the community. and then you go based on that. So the closer, and then and so on. طيب. Yeah, but with the value of the food here, not with the value of everything. طيب. The next مسألة قال وإن جامع في يومين أو كرره في يوم ولم يكفر فكفارة واحدة في الثانية. Now, is more details in this action of the intercourse. قال here we have two مسألة. If the jima happen in 2 days, or the jima is done twice in the same day, and he didn't make a kafara, so the kafara is only fulfilled one in the second one, and in the first two. And if someone commit the intercourse, then he give the kafara, and then again commit the intercourse in the same day, he has to give a second kafara. This is according to the author. Let's get to some of the explanation. If someone قال إذا جامع في يومين, if he commit the intercourse in 2 days, he first, for example, the first day of Ramadan, then did it the second day of Ramadan. Here, he has to pay 2 kafara. وإن جامع أو كرره في يوم ولم يكفر فكفارة واحدة في الثانية وفي الأولى. Now, here, just to specify, the author specify that every day is a separate action of worship. The first day of Ramadan, if it was, someone didn't, or he commit the intercourse, so he broke his fast, by that, then he has to have a kafara. The second day he did it, the second day is different than the first day, then he has to have a kafara for it. Yes. The kafara is either to fast 60 days, so for every day 60 days. The third day, the fourth day, because every day is a separate action. طيب. قال وذلك لأن كل يوم عبادة مستقلة. Every day is a separate and dependent action of worship. ولذلك لا يفسد صوم اليوم الأول بفساد صوم اليوم الثاني. So if someone will ruin the first day, it will not make the second day to void it. And if someone will not fast the second day, it will not gonna make the first day also. So is there not a continuous prayer, like the prayer, a continuous worship like the prayer? The prayer, if someone, forget anything in the fourth rak'ah, a rukn, and then he leaves, and he forget, and then he remember he has to do the whole prayer. He will not say, oh, I only forget the sujood of the fourth rak'ah, right? If someone will lose the wudu, break the wudu in the tashahhud, the last tashahhud, he's not gonna say, I did the third rak'ah, 3 rak'ah fine, so I'll make wudu and do only 1 rak'ah. He has to do the whole. Why? Because it's one unit worship, a whole worship. In Ramadan, every day is a worship. So whatever done in one day, it will be the kafara or the making up or the thing will be related to that specific day. طيب. Other scholar قال لا يلزمه إلا كفارة واحدة إلى يكفر عن الأول وهو وجه في مذهب الإمام أحمد. There's an opinion also in the Hanbali school and in the Hanafi school that if he didn't pay the kafara for the first day, and for example, the fourth day he pay, and he already did, he had broken his fast the three first day, he only pay one kafara, as long as he didn't pay. Here, the scholar, they look from, sometimes you see their vision, their view from different angle. If you look at the angle of the days, separate worship, every day need to be resolved on its own. Now, if someone commit the infraction first day, the second day, and the third day, the fourth day, we have here difference of opinion. Say, I acknowledge I did all this. What should I do? The first opinion said, say, for every day you have to, you are entitled to the kafara. The other opinion, they look from another view. Said the kafara is going to be paid, so we have one kafara who should cover everything. So they look at the kafara as expiation for all the infraction, because the kafara is the same. So they say the Sharia will not entitle you to do like 30 days, 60 days, and 60 days, and 60 days for every day. It's like, and this analogy is close to something that we already know. For example, someone, he broke his wudu with different ways. He went to the bathroom, he did this, he did this. Every action he did, for example, he had 5 actions. Any one of them lead to the breaking of wudu. Is he going to make wudu for every action that led to the breaking of the wudu? He's going to make one wudu. So they look at it, is like how to get back to the state of the purity, or the state to resolve the problem of violating all those days with one kafara. This is his one opinion in the Imam Ahmad school, and it is the opinion of the Hanafi school. Is the Hanafi school. So this is an opinion, but it depends again on the situation of the person. If the situation like the companion who came, who cannot even afford to feed the masakin or to fast, I mean, if you're going to tell him for every day you're going to feed 60 miskin for every day $600, if he cannot fast, and we have this is 4 days or 5 days, this is $3,000. He's going to tell you I cannot even pay $1. What is 3,000? So it depends on the situation. That's why in the fatwa, someone needs to be merciful, like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the explanation of the mas'ala. Now, قال, the first mas'ala. So if this commit the intercourse in every day of Ramadan, the second mas'ala, if the intercourse happened in the same day 2 times. If he happened 2 times and he didn't pay the kafara, then it's kafara for 1 day. واضح? What if someone, they had the intercourse in the beginning of the day, and then they say you should have fulfill the kafara. They fulfill the kafara, and then they had another jima'. The question: do they have to pay another kafara? That's what the author said. He said yes. So the difference between the two situations is the intercourse happened 2 times in the day of Ramadan. but the kafara was not fulfilled after the first time. And he'll come to ask you, tell him you are entitled to one kafara. But someone will had the jima', they fulfill the kafara, and then they come to you, they fulfill again the jima', and they say, they come, are we entitled to another kafara? The author say, yes, you are. This is the opinion of the author. He's saying, if you didn't do the kafara and you make it the second time in one day as one separate worship, but you did it more than one time, then you pay one kafara. But if you have done it and you pay the kafara and then you do it again, then that second one is require another kafara. But this is the rest of the scholar, the Maliki and the Shafi and the Hanafi, they always saying one kafara in one day, even though he might have done it more than one time after he paid the kafara. What is the way of the interpretation that they present? Said they already broke their fast by the first one. So they are required to hold on eating the imsak, but the imsak does not mean that they are fasting. That imsak is not gonna redo their fast. They have to do it again anyway. So it's like they are not fasting that day. So I say, how can you obligate them another kafara when they already paid for that day? And they're not literally fasting. Their imsak, what they have, is just by observing what they have to do to continue the day by not eating and drinking because they are in the day of Ramadan. But in reality, it's not a fasting because they have to remake that day and they already paid the kafara for it. So this is the opinion of the three major school of thought, Maliki and Shafi and the Hanafi in this question. According to the author, no, they have to make another kafara. So Hanbali, yes. So here even the Sharh, who is Hanbali, is saying the stronger opinion is that they should not pay a second kafara. Because he's قال لأنه ليس صائما الآن. Because he's not fasting, literally he's not fasting. If he's not eating and drinking, that not make him fasting because he already ruined his fasting by their fasting by the intercourse. طيب وكذا من لزمه الإمساك إذا جامع. The same. So there is no kafara in this case. قال وكذلك من لزمه الإمساك إذا جامع ومن جامع وكذلك من لزمه الإمساك إذا جامع. The same for the one who's requested to do the imsak if he had the intercourse. How can we explain this? I want to look at the time for your break. 6, we still, so, oh no, it's 6:53. It's already, okay, طيب, let's finish this مسألة. This will be solving the situation that we had. So someone, he did the intercourse, okay? So they broke their fast and they're entitled to make imsak. Imsak is to not eat. Why? Because there's still day of Ramadan. Now, if they make the jima' again, are they entitled to a second kafara? No. Now, in this particular one has different scenario. Example, قال من لزمه الإمساك إذا جامع. Look, لزمه الإمساك. What it means لزمه الإمساك? he's obligated to make him sick. What we understand from this? That he was not fasting. And he was not fasting not because he wanted to violate the day of Ramadan. He didn't know that he's supposed to fast. So لزمه الإمساك. He's, for example, he's eating at home and everything, and he get a call, say, MashaAllah, Mabruk Ramadan. He said, what are you talking about? Ramadan is tomorrow. He said, no, you didn't hear. We already announced Ramadan. Say, oh, I didn't know. That's لزمه الإمساك. He's obligated to stop eating because he just heard Ramadan, that is today, not tomorrow. This person, before that, they had intercourse. According to the author, he has to pay the kafar. It's hard. Huh? No, it's not confusing. It's not confusing. طيب. قال وكذا من لزمه الإمساك إذا جامع. So, you follow me with the example, right? So someone he didn't know that is Ramadan. Then he get the proof or the announcement that today is Ramadan. He get the proof, for example, at, let's say, 11 a.m. At 11 a.m., they already, for example, they had an intercourse, they have a breakfast. So the thing that they have to is to have al-imsak, to stop eating, right? They're going to observe the fasting from the moment when they heard the news about Ramadan. They didn't know. So the question he going to come ask you, said, what I'm going to do? He said, you're going to redo your day? He said, but we had intercourse. What about that? So the author here, the Hanbali school, said, you have to pay the kafara then. Because it was Ramadan. Even though you didn't know, you have to pay the kafara. Because other scholars said, but I didn't know. I said, but you should not have done that because, this is the day of doubt. This is the opinion of the author. قال ولذلك يقول الفقهاء يكره للإنسان أن يجامع زوجته في يوم 30 من شعبان. It is disliked to have the intercourse on the day of the 30th of Sha'ban because it might be the first day of Ramadan. لاحتمال أن تقوم البينة أثناء النهار. For the option or the possibility that the news of Ramadan to be announced in the day. That's why they say the kafar. But this is really a weak statement. Is not founded on strong evidence, as the author himself with Hanbali he's saying. واضح. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال فالآن باشروهن وابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط. So التبين, remember تبين. So the scholar, they're saying here, how can you obligate on me a kafara when I don't have the bayina that is Ramadan? Now that you give it to me, now call me accountable if I do this action after this news. طيب. So, which is require يلزمهم الإمساك ولا الكفارة. The second opinion, which really it goes more with the understanding of the ayah, they have to stop, hold on eating, but they do not have to pay to observe the kafara or to fulfill the kafara for something that they have done before knowing that today is Ramadan. So this is the second opinion. The second one. Because the Prophet ﷺ قال إذا رأيتموه فصوموا. When you see it, fast. And up to 11 a.m., we didn't know, we didn't see it. You just call me, you tell me this is Ramadan. So from here, it's like it's in the news. See? So it only was announced during the day. So that makes someone non-accountable on an action that it was halal when he had done. Halal was allowed because he didn't know that was Ramadan. So how can you bring me back to tell me no, it was Ramadan and therefore you have to make the kafar? طيب. Other opinion, actually, they say they're not required even to make the imsak, to hold on eating and to fast for the rest of the day, because for them it wasn't the day of Ramadan and they started non-fasting, therefore they continue non-fasting. What the imsak has to solve, because the imsak is not gonna make them not making up the day. Actually, the imsak is like just a title to observe the day of Ramadan and the rest of the day of Ramadan, but it will not be counted as a fasting of that particular day. Now, according just to قال من لزمه الإمساك إذا جامع يشمل ما إذا جامع في أول النهار قبل ثبوت دخول الشهر ثم ثبت دخوله بعد ذلك فيلزمه الإمساك والكفارة. This is here the author he's the author of شرح الممتع. He's saying that according to the author of Zaad Al-Mustaqni, that the one who those who have the intercourse before they heard about the bayyina, the evidence of that day is Ramadan, and then it becomes like clear for them that is Ramadan, they have to stop eating and observe the fasting of the rest of the day plus the kafar. And he's saying والصحيح I mean, he said the strongest opinion here أن لا كفارة أن الكفارة لا تلزمه لأنه جاهل. The kafara is not obligatory on him because he was not knowing the that is Ramadan, and not knowing that is a reason for someone to not do the kafara. طيب. Now, the kafara is related to the intercourse. So if he's saying if someone ate and he broke his fast, he violated the worship of fasting by drinking and eating, and then he wants to repent, he has to make the imsak. Told them he have to fast the rest of the day. He will have to make up that day and to repent from the violation he has done. But there's no kafara on him. So قال عليه الإمساك والقضاء مع الإثم. Because there's qada, you just make it up and you had the permission to not fast. But the one who does not have a permission, he has to make the qada, and he's sinful by doing that action, though it require repentance. Someone, for example, he was not able to pray on time, and he missed the prayer. So he'll make up the prayer, but as he was not able, that it will be forgiven. But someone intentionally, he didn't pray on time. And the time passed, and he'll ask you, should I pray? I told him, of course, you have to make it up. But you have to know that this is an infraction. It requires forgiveness. That's what we say with ithm. That's the difference between that. So someone here, for example, people, they don't care. They go and they break their fast, and they drink and things. And then they feel like remorse and regret, and they want to solve that. They want to correct that. So I tell them, make the imsak, which is mean fast the rest of the day, hold on eating and drinking, make up the day, but no, you need to know that it requires repentance, your action, sincere repentance. But the one who break this fast by the action of intercourse, he has to make up the day and to pay the kafara. So the kind of the repentance, if you can say, is being defined how to do it through the kafara. قال ومن جامع وهو معافى ومن جامع وهو معافى. It's time. How many مسألة we still have? طيب, we'll finish after the break this مسألة, and then I'll tell you what to study during the 2 weeks. I will talk to you, inshallah, بإذن الله تعالى. We'll go pray. The break, we come back at 7:40. 7:40 is good, inshallah. 7:40. 7:40, inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. Let's finish the مسألة. Inshallah, finishing what we have promised to finish the last مسألة in this chapter. قال ومن جامع وهو معافى ثم مرض أو جن أو سافر لم تسقط. Whoever who do the intercourse and he's mu'afa is mean like he's in afia, in good health. So which is mean mu'afa, that he's entitled to fast, nothing preventing him from fasting. After that he fell sick, or he lost his conscience, or he get like encountered to a mental disease, or he traveled during the day. So we have the three conditions that he mentioned here: sickness, be insanity, subhanallah, it happened, on travel. All these three are reason for someone to not fast. What? The one who's sick, he should not fast. The one who loses his conscience, and therefore he's not entitled to fast, al-majnoon. And the one who's traveling, as long as he started traveling, he had the permission to not fast. What? So these are three elements who give the permission to not fast. Now, the action, when it was done, is done in a state where he was entitled to fast. Therefore, the hukum is related to the time of the action, which obligate the kafar. The time of the action as he was mu'afa obligates the kafar. Now the question the person is gonna come ask you said, but he was sick. You're gonna say sick before or after? what the sickness has to do here, or the traveling, or the insanity, here are the elements who give him the permission to not fast. Right? Therefore, if he had the permission to not fast, the action of the intercourse will not lead him or lead her to have to fulfill the kafara. But we're saying this is not as the previous mas'ala. The previous mas'ala, he was entitled to not fast, and he chose to fast because he's traveling. Then they commit the intercourse, then the kafara will not be obligatory. That's the first case that we were talking about. Now this person, he's entitled to fast. They did the intercourse. So you have to make you are entitled to the kafara. But the person, he gonna argue, said, but he was sick. Say, when he became sick, he said after, he said, this sickness, this insanity, him becoming crazy, traveling will not drop on him the duty to do the kafar. Well, that's what he said. That's the meaning of the mas'ala. So anything that comes will give him the permission to not fast after he did the action, while he was in good health, in good state, in an able way, or entitled to fast, then it will not free him from the action of the obligation of the kafar. That's what he said. Inshallah ta'ala, as already mentioned in the beginning of the class, the 40th, the 80th, the next Sunday, and the Sunday after it, we will not have classes. Alhamdulillah, we go in, mashallah, with the group to the Umrah. Make dua for us, inshallah. We'll make dua for you over there, inshallah. That's the bargain. So, during these 2 weeks, I really request from you to do the study. The first study, like Sunday, that you have it devoted, mashallah, for the knowledge, for the, to inquire and getting knowledge. So, in the book that you have of Zaad Al-Mustaqni, I would like you to study, and then we can go through it, inshallah, when we come back, as more discussing the masail, to inshallah finish the book of Siyam and start the book of the Hajj. So here today we get to have 143, page 143. So we are at the end of 143, okay? So study the end of 143, 144, and 145. Yeah. So the chapter will be finishing what we have been doing. Then the next one, حكم القضاء. Not the makruh, what is recommended and disliked in fasting. Please study that. And then let's have it here. ما يكره ويستحب وحكم القضاء. What is disliked, what is recommended in fasting, and what are the ruling of making up the days that weren't fast. واضح. So do this chapter, inshallah ta'ala, which is from page 44 to 46. Yes, 246. So Laylat al-Qadr wal-i'tikaf, we'll do it together, but I want you to study this, so inshallah we will have together to go through them and discuss the masail. So you have already know that, and we might have a question, or we'll go through it inshallah in summary bi'idhnillah, and I will go through the main difference of opinion if there are some, and then we can go forward bi'idhnillah ta'ala. This is concerning Sharh Zaad Al-Mustaqni. This is concerning Sharh Zaad Al-Mustaqni. To finish this chapter, inshallah, you study it, and then we'll review it together.